Hey guys, today we're going to be learning about the global economy. We've been really focusing on how economics works within our country, what the U.S. economy is, and how money is constantly flowing through our economy in the circular flow. And before we talk about how the government gets involved in trying to control that a little bit by speeding things up or slowing things down, we need to look at how our economy works in conjunction with other economies and how our nation fits in with the rest of the world. So that's what we're going to focus on today and tomorrow. So you might be asking, what is a global economy? Well, let me tell you. Our definition of a global economy is worldwide markets in which the buying and selling of goods and services by all nations takes place. In our world today, there's very few places that do not participate in buying and selling of goods and services around the globe. Almost all nations participate in one way or the other. So it is a worldwide market in which the buying and selling of goods and services by all nations takes place. And states trade too. That might surprise some of you guys. I remember it kind of did it surprised me when I first learned about it, that Virginia has deals all around the world, and companies in Virginia trade all around the world and trade with other states as well. And the reason that they do that is that they are trying to promote efficiency and growth. We're always looking to streamline our industries and to be as efficient and profitable as possible, and to grow. So Virginia, let me get this out of the way here. Virginia and the U.S. specialize in the production of certain goods and services. We don't make everything that we possibly could in the U.S., and we don't make everything we possibly could in Virginia, but we choose certain things to kind of focus on. So in Virginia, our state is known for a lot of agriculture. Virginia produces agriculture like peanuts, corn, soybeans, cotton, seafood, and we are also leaders in other industries. We have some of we're world renowned for aeronautical research. We have a Navy base down in Norfolk, and they are known around the world for the research that they do in aeronautical design. We do computer communications, railway equipment, and more Northern Virginia is known for telecommunications, satellite business systems, and the defense industry as well. But we don't make everything we possibly could, but we choose certain goods to specialize in and to use our resources on. Because remember, resources are scarce, which means you have to make choices. And this is sort of what Virginia has chose to focus on. So why do nations and states trade? Lots of reasons. You can see there are 7 on your paper. So here we go. The first one is the nations trade to get things they cannot produce or they can't produce efficiently. In the United States, we're actually very fortunate that we have a lot of natural resources, and we have a lot of technology. We have a lot of education in our country. We have a lot of educated human resources. So we could produce almost anything, not everything, but almost anything. But we can't produce everything efficiently. So we choose to think what we can make efficiently. One thing that we do not have a whole lot of is oil. So you can see here on the map that the United States is saying, help, we need oil and cheap shoes. Shoes made in the United States are way more expensive than when we get them in other places in the world. We do make oil in the United States, but it's actually cheaper for us to get it other places. Over here in Europe, it says we need meat and technology. Here in Africa, it says we need food and medicine. And I'm not sure it's maybe Asia on the other side over here. We need food. So they trade so they can get some things they either can't get otherwise, or because they can get it more efficiently if they trade for it instead of making it in their own country. The second reason why nations trade is to sell things they have. You can kind of think of this as when your family decides to have a yard sale. They go, hey, we've got all this stuff laying around that we're not really using. Maybe we can make some money off of it. Well, states and nations kind of think the same thing. We think, hey, we got this stuff, let's try and make some money off of it. In the United States, we actually are really well known for our agriculture because we have wonderful natural resources for growing food in our country. So we're like, hey, we've got all this food, let's see if we can sell it. In Russia, they have lots of wheat. In Africa, we actually get most of, well, I don't know if I'd say most, but a lot of our precious minerals come from the continent of Africa, diamonds and gold. They have the natural resources of that. And over here, saying that they have technology and can make good cars. So sometimes they look around and see, what do we have? What can we sell? What can we make some money off of? The third reason nations trade is to create jobs. It's always better for a nation to have a large percentage of the people employed. And so anytime that we can create jobs in our nation, it works out better for everybody. So if they can figure out a deal that's going to increase the number of workers needed in the United States, that would benefit our country to create those jobs. The fourth reason, I think we are, is that nations trade to promote proficiency and growth. So we are trying to be efficient and we're trying to grow as a nation. And we also want to trade so we can buy things at a lower price. Sometimes we can make things here in the United States, but it's cheaper for us to get at places where they might have a larger number of natural resources. They may have a cheaper labor force. They they might not have as many taxes on something. So we can sometimes look around and see, yeah, we could make it here, but we can get it at a lower price if we go shopping around the globe. So it's cheaper for us to get our oil and shoes from you. We can make shoes, and we actually do have a lot of oil in Texas and California and Alaska, but it's cheaper for us to get it other places. They're saying here it's cheaper for us to get our food from you than it is to make it ourselves. They can make it there, actually, but they don't have as much land at the disposal to do that. Meat here costs too much. We can buy it from you cheaper. Australia and the United States are huge exporters of beef because everybody else around the world thinks it's cheaper to get it from the U.S. and Australia than to set aside the land needed for that. What does this one say? We can't grow enough food. It's cheaper to buy it. So maybe they can make it, but they can get it cheaper someplace else. Another reason that nations trade is to consider the opportunity cost. As I've been saying, sometimes we can make these things, but when we consider the options, it's more profitable to have somebody else make it. So here, it has, let's see, the U.S. is saying, we don't want to spend our time on t-shirts. We can get them cheaply from other countries and spend our time on technology. So we're choosing technology. Our opportunity cost in this scenario is t-shirts. And then over here in some other part of the world, they're saying we want to spend our time and resources making t-shirts because for us it's worth it because it provides jobs for our people and we can get agricultural goods more cheaply elsewhere. So again, in their scenario, the choice is between t-shirts and agriculture, farming, and they're saying, we're going to choose the t-shirts and our opportunity cost is agricultural goods. But because resources are scarce, you have to make choices, and countries choose what they are going to kind of focus on so that they can trade. And nations trade as part of a worldwide market. As technology increases, we have internet that can get us any place around the globe within seconds. We have telephone lines and airplanes that are getting faster and faster. The world is actually becoming a smaller and smaller community, and it is in everybody's best interest to trade, and it creates kind of a more peaceful relationship with countries around the world. If you have a good trading relationship with a country, chances are pretty good that you're going to have a peaceful relationship with that country too. Okay, so how has technology impacted the global economy? Ever since the Stone Age, human beings have been increasing and improving upon technology and tools that they're using to take care of their basic needs and to become more prosperous. And so we're going to look at how that has been working in more modern times. Innovations in technology, especially the internet, contribute to the global flow of information, capital, goods, and services. So we can go on the internet, get information so quickly now. We also can make deals where we're sharing capital resources and sharing, investing money all around the globe. So I might be sitting here in Virginia and read about a fabulous country and company or business in Sweden that I want to invest in, and I'm going to, send some capital to that business to invest in it. And I can do that way more quickly and way more independently than I have ever been able to because of the increase in technology. And technology lowers the cost of production. A lot of the motivation for inventions is to create things more efficiently and more cheaply, because the more cheaply you can produce something, the higher your profit's going to be. Because you produce things cheaper, that gives more money left over at the end. So you want, and in the United States and free market economies and in our mixed economy, we are motivated by profit. So an example is the first assembly line. When Henry Ford invented the assembly line, all of a sudden cars were produced much more quickly, they were offered much more cheaply, and suddenly there were lots more cars. But even since Henry Ford's first assembly line, we have made many technological improvements, and this is today's assembly line. There aren't even people here. It's robotic arms going through, and it works way more quickly and way more efficiently, and so cars are even cheaper than they were, and they're produced even more quickly than they were. Oops, this is hard to read, but it says things change over time. Duh, right? But let's look at it for a second. Kids 50 or 60 years ago did not have television or computers. Life was not the same as it is today. Technology continues to change American homes, leisure activities, and workplaces. So let's go back for a second. This is the one that you need to write down. Because life is not the same, technology continues to change in American homes, in their leisure activities, and in workplaces. So what's important to understand about this? Well, a couple things. The United States pursues international trade in order to increase wealth, and interdependence among nations continues to grow in a global economy. So please write down, the United States pursues international trade in order to increase wealth, and interdependence among nations continues to grow in a global economy. So as we become more connected, we become more connected. We become more dependent on each other. And so we continue to look for those opportunities so that our country doesn't get left behind. And as technology improves, the global economy grows. Countries become more reliant on each other for the country's goods and services. So we actually depend on other countries for the goods and services that we get from them. So go ahead and answer these questions. Multiple choice question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we'll talk about this when you're done.